hello, and welcome. It's Rowan Ravenwolf. I own Triple Goddess Apothecary and Reiki, where I sell crystals, botanicals, my handcrafted pagan candles, body care, all sorts of fun stuff. But I also teach classes, so feel free to join me there. But thank you so much for joining my live. Tonight is a spiritual panel. So every Tuesday I do Tuesday Tarot, and I will have a couple people up on panel where we'll talk about some type of divination topic. But Thursday is a spiritual topic, something spiritual that I'll be chatting about. And tonight's topic is transformation. So transformation is... I think it's really important for us, no matter what your spiritual path is, because we do need to evolve and transform. And so this is where it starts to get really fun. So I'm going to share for a moment with a couple people. Okay, sorry, just want to make sure I got a few shares out there. So, all right. So tonight's topic is transformation. And this can be like a really big, it can be a heavy topic too. The reason I say that is because we're literally taking most of the time what we're trying to heal or what we're trying to evolve into, and we're literally transforming, we're shifting what we are into what we want to be. So transformation is kind of it's a big topic, and it can be pretty heavy. So wherever you are in your spiritual path, you might be in the process of transforming or getting ready to transform into somebody amazing. Not that you're not amazing without it, but it is fun to transform. So, a lot of people who come to the spiritual community come for a specific reason. And that's kind of one of the pluses is we get to meet a lot of different people, and we can learn from their experiences, but we can also grow and evolve with them. So we can just kind of walk the path together, but separate. So transformation, like when I'm talking to people, a lot of times I have people who are unsatisfied with their spiritual or religious path. So they're picking a new one and finding more comfort and finding more love and peace in their new pathway. Some come to their spiritual journey because they are hurting, like they're in pain, they've suffered some trauma, and they want to find that higher power to help them through. And there is a beautiful higher power when we are shifting ourselves and we're transforming. So I'm going to use the word shift and transform interchangeably, because really that's what we're doing, is we're shifting, we're changing, and we are transforming. And this is like evolution. This is how we grow and evolve spiritually into better people. And we can learn to balance our body, mind, and spirit. So hopefully you're somewhere on your path. And I'll look, if I know you and you would like to come up on panel, I will let a few people come up on panel. I know I've got a couple people that will be joining a little later that will come up as we talk about transformation. So I'm gonna just start, and I'm gonna kind of share my spiritual transformation, and it's long. So for years, so I was born into a Christian cult. It's actually a pretty big one too. And I was never quite satisfied with their doctrine. And like lots of things bothered me. And the thing that made it worse is my mother was full-fledged, jump in everything the people say in that particular religious path was truth and don't question it. Now, my father did question things. He believed in it. He didn't totally shove it down our throat. But he would say, if you have a question, ask, and I'll help you do research and figure out the answer, or I'll help you figure out the answer, or we'll talk to the clergy there are called bishops. We'll talk to the bishop. And there were lots of questions I was having, and I was like always getting in trouble because apparently they weren't appropriate questions. It was just like, well, why would this be happening if, I would just compare the different scriptures saying, well, that contradicts this one. And in here, in Matthew, blah, 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 this means this. And in this, it means this. And so I was always constantly getting in trouble because I was that person that wanted to think outside of the box. And you can't do that when you're in a cult. You have to think like the cult and just accept things, right? So as a kid, I was constantly kind of questioning things. So I kept wanting to find spirituality, and I never felt like a spiritual connection. And a lot of people are like, well, you're just not, giving it 100%. So I thought, all right, okay, I'll try to give it 100%. I'll try to give it more, right? So I ended up jumping in with both feet, trying to give it more, trying to be a people pleaser for the people in this cult, most especially my parents, because I did not want to disappoint them. And always kind of questioning things. So I hit a point, I was going through a very horrible divorce. There was things that happened that I would not wish on my worst enemy. Not that I have any enemies, but I wouldn't, I guess but I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And there was a lot going on associated with this whole process. And I was really trying to find comfort. And I'm sitting there looking at the gospel teachings and asking for help. And it was very restrictive. It was very patriarchal. And I was constantly being given the, because you're a woman and you don't have a man in your life now. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And then one of the beliefs is that you have to be married to somebody who holds the priesthood in order to go to heaven. And if you're not married to somebody who holds the priesthood, you can't go to heaven. So that was really, for me, it was like, well, wait a minute. You're telling me there's this God, and this God loves everybody. And when we die, God's going to say, you know what? I know you were like a really great person, but you're not married to a man that holds the priesthood, so you can't go to heaven. And I'm like, how does that make sense? So there were a lot of other doctrines associated with that whole concept that I did not agree with, and it didn't resonate with me, and it was really holding me back spiritually. So the combination of my trauma and really delving into the doctrine of this particular religion, I was like, this is not for me. This is not my belief system. This is not healthy for me. So I jumped in and started studying a lot of different religions and spiritual pathways. A lot. And I would be like, well, I like this from Hinduism. I like this from Islam. I like this. So I was literally, writing down things that I liked from lots of the different religions. And I'm like, why do I have to be a specific one? But what always has resonated with me, and what always was like a little bit me, was my pagan beliefs and my beliefs in worship and worshiping nature and being in nature and being connected with nature. And so I jumped in both feet into witchcraft and paganism and have not looked back since. So that's where my personal spiritual path is. Granted, I use a little bit of the beautiful things from some of the other religious and spiritual paths that have resonated with me and I feel make me a better person. So my spiritual journey, the core of this transition and my transformation was really needing to have something spiritual that would keep me grounded and keep me whole and not suffer from the pain. Because I I was in a very dark place. And, I'm sure everybody has had oh, thank you, Vicki. I'm glad to see you back. Actually, Vicki, if you want to come up tonight, you sure can. So I will invite you up. So when I was ready to shift and transform, I was like, I needed something stronger to believe in, and something that just really I could feel that happiness and that love. And so I finally found it. And it's not the easiest thing. It took a long time. And then it's like, I'll have little setbacks. I'll have little things that will aggravate me. I mean, like earlier today, like I told my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't stand my day job. And, but I was able to let it wash off my back or fall off my back. And so, but overall, I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to have little setbacks, but we have like beautiful spiritual things we can like reach out to. And that is what transforms us. Welcome, Vicki. I know you were on last week. We had like a lot of fun. This week's topic is transformation. Do you have, a significant experience or event that you felt a spiritual transformation in your life? Oh, I don't know. I can't hear you. Hang on, let me see if, nope, okay. I can't tell if you're on mute or not. Oh, there we go. Okay, I see you blinking. Can you hear me? I can't hear you if you're trying to talk. Okay, you can hear me. Okay. Oh, see, there it blinked again. Okay. Well, just pipe in when you want to start talking. So, so tonight's topic for anybody who's joining now is transformation. It's your personal spiritual transformation. So I see yours is blinking. I wonder if it's because you're like, I hope I have my, I hope it's not me. We've had storms here. It did clear up a bit though. Okay, I think we lost Vicki, but I'm sure she'll come back. So, or, oh, there we go. Maybe we'll try this. Okay. Oh, I have more bars. So I wonder if I didn't have enough bars too. But I can't hear you yet, Vicki. And I would love to hear you because we had a beautiful chat last week. So for those just joining, I am Rowan, and tonight's topic is spiritual transformation. So please feel free to think about anything in your life that helped inspire you to transform. You could be at the beginning of your path. You could be maybe in the middle, or do we ever know where the end of our transformation is? We may or may not know, right? Or we may be at the end and we just didn't realize it. So, okay, Vicki, I at least see a mic for you now. So that's good. That's a good sign. So, but welcome to everybody watching. If you are new, I do go live on Tuesdays. I do Tuesday tarot cards, and Thursdays I am doing a spiritual topic. At some point, Azrael will be joining, and he will actually be going live. So I do have a hard stop at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Ooh, Vicki, like your mic keeps flashing on and off, and I'm hoping it's not my phone. I'm hoping it's not my service that's making it yucky. All these technical things, and when we're not technical people, I didn't grow up with we had computers, but they were like large and bulky and took cassette tapes. So if you are old enough to remember when you had to save things on a cassette tape, Yes, I'm that old. So I look back and I just think, oh my gosh, even VHS. So, okay. Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, we'll see you back in a bit, Vicky. So I would love to have Vicky up here because she had some beautiful things to say last week. And, I'm sure a couple other people will be joining. So, tonight's topic again is on transformation, spiritual transformation. So one thing I really learned in my pathway is that I grow so much more while I'm embracing my personal spiritual beliefs. And so I said earlier, for those who didn't join, I do consider myself pagan, and I love being in nature. I love that connection with nature. I feel like that's like my strength to connecting to a higher power. And it really is transformative because you think about it. You think about if you take a little seed and you plant it in the ground and watch that like little seed blossom and grow, like it becomes like something amazing. Or if you take an acorn and it becomes a big giant tree over time, or a pine cone. Actually, what's really cool is like I was in Sequoia and there were these giant acorns, and I have small feet, but some of these pine cones, but some of these pine cones were bigger than my feet. And my husband's like, oh, that must be the Sequoia. Actually, the Sequoia pine cones are like, here's these giant trees that you cannot even get your arms around. And their pine cones are maybe about this big, where the really giant pine cones belong to small trees. So it is extremely fascinating to think how something so little can grow into something just majestic and amazing. And we're that little, and we can grow into something majestic and amazing. So let's see. I feel like all the goddess of every era is calling me. What is that? Pagan or just, it could be a form of the occult. Personally, and this is just my belief and my thought process, is to follow your heart and follow your spiritual path, because you know exactly what you need for your life and in your life. Some people, it may be paganism or the occult, sometimes it might not be. But follow the symbols and the signs that you see out there. Follow the guidance that you get in your gut, because it will guide you where you need to go. So, ever heard of the Order of the Sun? I have, but I don't recall exactly what the Order of the Sun is. So, but I remember I did hear of it. So let's see. They have me every direction, but down one tunnel and make a scene. Oh, okay. Interesting. We can feel pulled though, because like there are times I'm feeling pulled in multiple directions with my spiritual practice, and we just kind of have to hone in and see where we're supposed to go. But there will be signs out there for where we're supposed to, like, especially when we're reaching out to a higher power saying, I need something spiritual and I want something spiritual. And we can see what happens and just go with it and go with that flow. I was actually like, I wasn't even sure. I thought I'd become atheist, to be honest. But then I was just really drawn to the goddess. And it's really important. Oh, tomorrow is huge. Okay, White Wolf, we'll look for what that is. So we'll see what giant thing is coming our way tomorrow. And hopefully, Vicky, we'll have your sound up. So, because I would love to hear from you, because you had some beautiful insight last week. So it was really nice to have you last week. So I don't see your mic flashing. So I'm hoping, I'm fingers crossed. Oh, the solar, yes. And we are heading into the eclipse season too. We're going to have like quite a few eclipses coming up. Oh, darn it. Sometimes technology, we can love and hate it, right? So, yes, we have our full moon is coming. very quickly. Gosh, I feel like we blinked and we're like almost halfway through March already. Like I was looking at the date today and I was like, oh my gosh, we really are like speeding up through this year. At least it feels that way. But yes, we will have, we might have there's a lot of different changes coming because Venus just went into retrograde. So that's like giving us a big change. We had the huge planetary alignment so far this year. So that's created a lot of change. And that can actually also impact like the signs that we're getting, the connections that we might have with with the divine or higher powers. So we can see a lot of changes that way. And all those changes, what we choose to embrace in our life, that is part of our spiritual transformation. And it is really fun. One thing I really want to encourage, especially if you're just starting your journey out, but if you're like in the middle of your journey, it's okay. You can start now anyway, is to journal about your experiences and where you're at. It's so fun to go back and look and go, wow. Because like I said in the beginning, I kind of gave a little bit of my experience when I was at my darkest and things seemed so difficult. I really was like, when people would say, oh, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I remember telling people, if I hear that phrase one more time, I'm going to scream, because I was like, no. Because like sometimes when you're in a place where you need a lot of healing or you need a lot of direction, you hear phrases like that and it's like, this is not what I need in my life right now. This is not the phrase I need in my life right now. So we do have to find a way to transform ourselves personally then and accept things in a different way. And once we can do that, we have like so much power. One thing that I think is really super important is to understand all of our feelings are valid. Do not ever let anybody unvalidate your feelings, because they are your feelings and it's how you feel in that moment and in that time. And as we move into certain aspects, we may feel angry, we may feel frustrated. So we're going to feel a lot of different types of feelings, and we are completely valid. Let your feelings out. Figure out how to deal with them, especially if they're feelings like anger can feel very heavy. It can turn into hate. Frustration can turn into hate. And so as those feelings start to turn into hate, that's going to drag you down. And that's where we want to be careful, because that's what can hold us back on our spiritual journey and on our personal transformation. And Irish, this is kind of a safe space, so I don't know who you're talking. I don't know who you're talking about being angry. So I hope it's not me, because I'm not an angry person. So, so just, relax. As we transform those energies, we can actually get closer to our higher power or the divine. So whatever you want to call your connection, your spiritual connection, your spiritual journey, we want to transform those. Keep in mind, it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to be sad. Let those feelings out and figure out what you need to do and what tools you can use in order to adjust yourself and get a better energy. Oh, yay, Azriel. I was hoping, like, poor Vicky, I can't get her up. Like, well, she's up, but like, we're having mic issues. So welcome, Azriel.
Good evening, Vicky. Good evening, Rowan. I gotta stop calling you by your real name.
I know it'll take a little time, won't it? So, um, for those that don't know, Azrael and I are in the same, we're literally like in the same giant city. It's not like we can't say big, it's like a huge city. So,
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes away. Commuting, no, or even less. I'm not sure. Depends on the day, but yeah, about 15 minutes tops. I think the most, right?
yeah, probably at the very most. Yep.
So, are you still having an issue, Vicky?
I think she is like her mic was sometimes flashing a little bit, but maybe if you know a trick, you can guide us through it.
Well, there might be two. There's two options. The mic should be on the top right. Top right. Let me double check it. Yes. So it should be on the top right, and you got to click it. But if your connection is not good, you might have to drop and just re-request and just come. Sometimes the connection might have not connected correctly, and basically the option of turning on or turning off the mic is off. So you will have to drop down and just come back up.
See, Azrael knows all the secrets. Not that that's a big secret, but I'm so non-technically advanced. So, all right, she's going to try again. I hope she comes back because Vicky's got some beautiful insight. So Azrael, I'm talking about spiritual transformation tonight, and I did share my significant experience. So the first question I had tonight, and I was still kind of chatting about that, was what significant experience or event led to your spiritual transformation? If you feel ready to share.
I just had the issue with the mic, but it's on my end because my thumb. But anyways, I think the significant change or the experience that created the significant change.
Yeah, yes, it can be. Yes.
Well, it's part of our journey when we become codependents. At one point or another in life, we might become codependents. Especially with a significant other, and when they're not around, you're always seeking outside yourself and looking for somebody as I guess is acknowledgement. I think all of us can find a point in our life. We can have family and everybody, but it feels like nobody understands us. So through my spiritual journey, I realized, what? If I looked within myself and actually find the faults, but yet also the good qualities within myself, utilizing my spiritual awareness and spiritual connection, I seen that I was able to actually create my reality. Those moments when I felt lonely and I was codependent on having others acknowledge me and say, what, I need somebody just to know that I exist. I realized that what, and all it took was me to realize who I was as an individual, and learning that and finding out that what, even though I was me, as we are each other, each person is their own person. Sometimes we have uh bear with me one second, somebody's merging. So
Oh, you're
um sometimes we overlook the simple fact that we can find ourselves, meaning that even though it's us, we're in this vessel, this body, and we're living our lives and going through the hardship or whatever good things are, you know, sometimes we forget that, what, we are somebody, because the thought and the body are two different, two things, but yet are in the same body. And that thought that comes within us, it's a spirit version of ourselves, and our physical self is this body that we have here. And finding ourselves through spirituality made me see that I am worth, I'm worth it. In other words, I'm worth giving myself an opportunity, giving myself worth, because that's one thing that we forget, that we have value, and value is what you base it upon yourself. Some people feel, they're down and out and feel worthless, but in actuality, you make a difference once you realize that your best friend, your best motivator, your worst critic is always you. So if you can find yourself within yourself and take that moment and say, what, that's why we encourage individuals to love themselves, pamper yourself, and pampering doesn't mean, to go out there and constantly do your hair or getting manicures or whatever. It's the simplest thing, like I've been good. I've been watching my weight and so forth and so forth. Why not get myself a snack? And that snack is just, you're gifting yourself something that's so mute and so small, but yet the smallest things count when you realize that you have you to enjoy it. And then that's how and that's what I realized in my spiritual journey was, what, I always felt alone, that I need somebody. I need confirmation from somebody because, we tend to have our family that we're born into, but they don't understand us in the majority of the time. You can't go to them because they're not going to comprehend. And it's always those that are outside the family that realize who you are. But when they're not around, who do you go to? And it's you. It's always been you. And I love this discussion. I love the idea of the concept, and I could go forth with it, but I just don't want to uh, make it about me. But that's what Rowan. That's what I think I found the most in the spiritual journey is knowing that I at that moment where I felt all alone and the world was going to crumble on me, and I had nobody. And at the end of the day, it was me. It was always me, and I always was there with me because those times, when your intuition speaks to you and says, don't do that, and then you go against it, and then you say to yourself, I knew it, why didn't I listen to myself? How many countless times can we all actually say that? How many countless times can we say, you know what, I knew it, but I didn't listen to myself? Why don't I listen to myself? And once you realize that that voice is you, is when you find yourself, and that guidance is you all the time, and it knows exactly who you are, what you resonate with, what is your pros, what is your cons, and it will never put you in jeopardy. You know why? Because it's watching over you.
And that's so true. I think like that is you made such a great and important point. Because my journey was a little different, but I did sometimes feel alone. And the most important thing, and you said this, was to love yourself. And it was funny. I had found a guy on YouTube. His name is Dashi, and he literally has a 9 hour, and you're supposed to put it on while you sleep. So it's that subliminal message. And he starts and he's got this really great voice. So it's like that voice you can sleep to. And he literally says, I love myself. I love myself. And you know what? Listening to that, and even like if I have like a bad day, sometimes I have to put that on when I go to sleep. But it helps like shift your energy. Like that's where that transformation is, because it does shift that energy. Because then you're starting to realize, you know what, I am an amazing person. I have beautiful things to share with others. And that's where you're like, I'm divine love. I am a divine person. I do love myself. And it's not selfish. We should love ourselves, because if we love ourselves, we can love others and help them, which is kind of part of being human, is to be able to give that unconditional love to others. I also like, go ahead.
And I do agree. I do agree with you because we also talk about this in the community, and it's constant. It could pop up any given time when we have discussions. Is oh darn it, I lost it. Oh darn it, I can't believe I lost it. Slipped. But oh that we give the power to others when in actuality we should empower ourselves. When we can love ourselves and give ourselves the power of being loved, then we can understand. And now we put ourselves in our own hands. You understand? When we're looking for the exterior for solutions and help and assistance, we're actually putting our fate and our wishful manifestations and intentions in the power of somebody else's. But when we can recognize that it was us all the time, then we embrace ourselves. So now I am putting myself in my own hands. I am responsible for my decisions. I am responsible for the things that I am going to accept that resonate with me. So that's and a lot of factors in what is being spoken in some of these organized religions makes sense. Because it's stated, I am, as you are, and the power of words is the first key to manifestations, because without our words we can't create, the magic. We can't create the expectation of what we expect at the end of the day. So the power of words, once we say I am love, I love myself because I am the greatest for myself. You know what I'm saying? And I only gonna resonate that I serve, that I deserve. Anything else that doesn't deserve to have my attention, then we on the way. We be around it, but we don't accept it in our boundaries. We don't accept it to actually become a weight, and hold us down. So, uh, hey, Candace, how's it going? So that's the key. So the key starts with that. It starts with us realizing that this journey, all this life, guessing and trying to figure out that, what, I need somebody to actually guide me. I need somebody to actually love me. I need somebody to keep me company. And all the time we're looking for the exterior, but that someone was always you. And that's why it starts with I am who I am. I am love. I am divine. I am created. Everything. Whatever you think about it, you use those magic words, and you become who you say you.
Yes. And actually, that was one thing I had. It was weird. My dance teacher, when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, a couple of us had said something that made it sound like we had low self-esteems. And she stopped dance class and she was like, you always say I am, and it better be positive after that. And she literally gave us almost like a whole like spiritual lesson, and it always like really impacted me because she was like, I am, and say your name with pride. I am beautiful, and say it with pride. And it was just, and see, like there we've got Candace, and she is golden. See, so that's what we really need to do. I am is so, so important. And don't put anything negative with it. If you like are tempted, just say, I love myself. Substitute it for I love myself. Or just say, I am awesome. I personally love saying I'm divine love. I'm divine light, because we all have like a really beautiful light within us. And we need to just let that light shine and let that glow. Because it's just so important for us to find that beauty, because we all have that beauty. It's just accepting it. And I think, unfortunately, our society a lot of time teaches us to not love ourselves, and that self-care and that self-love is not taught. And it's really important for us to embrace that. And once you embrace it, it is so easy to have that shift and that transformation in your life. And you're just going to find things come so much easier, and your luck will literally change. And that's part of the spiritual path, is we're changing things. And Azrael was just talking about, like, we need to manifest, and our words manifest. If you say something like, I'm going to win $1 million, you're going to win $1 million. Like when we see it, we manifest it. It's just like when I say, all right, my strawberries are going to come up and they're going to be big and juicy this year. They come up big and juicy, so we want to manifest what we want, and we want to say it with like a lot of pride. When I'm teaching my witchcraft classes and my pagan classes, people will say, well, especially like for new moon and full moon, when I'm teaching people to do their petitions to bring what they need into their life and to transform their life, I'll have people say, well, I wish. And I'm like, no, you don't wish. You are, or I am, I see the money that I need to pay my debt, but we don't ever want to say like wish and hope. Like, they're beautiful words, but that's just, they're those gray words that means it could go either way. It could be good luck or bad luck. And we don't want to use good luck or bad luck. We want all positive. We don't want to have that negative. Once you have that negative, you're not going to manifest your intentions that you're setting out. That's part of our transformative journey, is to make sure that our words are so, so important. And having that positive energy in our life is so important. And so that's all our transformation is. So I said earlier, regardless of if you're like just beginning your transformative spiritual journey, or you're halfway in, we won't know if we're at the end, right? Like, is there an end? Are we gonna, I mean, I feel like I'm constantly learning new things, and I love that. I'm like a geek when it comes to learning. Like, give me a new book and I'm happy, right? Give me a new teacher, I'm happy. So I love to constantly learn. And so hopefully everybody else is that way, where we're just going to be sponges for learning and manifesting new things to help us evolve on our journey. I also liked, Azrael, when you were talking about family. So I'm just going to add on that. That is so true. A lot of times we may not, like, our families may not understand us as we start to become our authentic selves, especially when it's parents, because our parents have like expectations that are like up here, and our expectations are like over here at like a diagonal, you know, because we want to be different. And our parents, like, the minute we're born, most parents have an expectation for their child. And we need to understand that we shouldn't have expectations for our children, or like our siblings or anything like that. I know one of my brothers, we joke around that him and I are the black sheep of the family, and he does things completely off the wall. My parents could not handle how he did things. And he's like, I know I do things that you would never do and that you probably don't agree with. And I said, yeah, but that's your life. Like, you're happy, and that's all that matters. And that's the most important thing, is, are the people happy, like, that are in your life? And it is hard, because like my parents expected me to to stay in this religion that they were in. And it's the one Candace talked about, the people knocked on her door today. And you need to, like, you know, their expectation was to meet all the goals that that religion had. And they didn't make me happy. Like, it didn't make me happy at all. And it was not my spiritual path. Like, if they're happy with theirs, that's beautiful for them. So I did really love that you shared that, because that that happens with family, because I think families have certain expectations where our friends may not have those expectations. And sometimes we are closer to our friends and they become siblings to us, brothers and sisters. And it's nice because they don't say, you have to have like this, you have to do this to be my friend. You have to do this to be enlightened. You have to do this to be divine. You get to be who you are, and enjoy that and share that love. So Azrael, anything to add there? I know I kind of like, I'm playing off some of your comments too. So
No, you're doing, you're doing very good. And see, and that's the ability of these conversations. These conversations is when we're in true essence of just conversating and making sense of it. It creates understanding. Because when we push the buttons too hard, we're so concerned that we're making sure we're pushing the buttons to turn it on, that that's where we're investing the energy towards, is assuring that and when the flow happens, it just gotta let it happen. And you did perfect. And I appreciate that. So it's the power, the self-empowerment, because like you stated, when we have doubt and say, what, I can't do that, oh, I'm scared, I'm this and that, all that stuff, it's already making you a loser. You are already giving up, and you're not giving yourself that chance and the ability to actually be able to at least partake. Because you know what, here's an example. The How do you say, the inevitable is, we can't stop these things.
yep.
Yes, so you're aware, I'm aware, everybody, 8 billion people in this world are aware that eventually we got to go to sleep. No matter what, no matter if I'm tired or not, I have to rest. So we all have to rest at one point or another. So we cannot change that. So the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is that tomorrow, when we wake up from our dreams, we can look at it as actually being reborn. Because when we close our eyes, we're not scared of closing our eyes to fall asleep. So if we're not scared to close our eyes to fall asleep because we're afraid we're not going to wake up, that alone should tell us that's how we're supposed to carry ourselves throughout life. If I'm going to close my eyes and know that I'm going to sleep because I need the rest, why am I going to fear waking up in the morning? So with the knowledge, the wisdom, and everything that I've gained through the day, everything, it's a gift that I've given myself, the opportunity to start a fresh new day tomorrow with all the wisdom that I learned prior, especially today, right now. This present moment has given me presence. It has given me golden eggs of wisdom, golden eggs of unlimited potentials of what I can do. You know why? Because bygones is bygone. Yesterday's gone. I cannot change that. The only thing I can look forward is when I open my eyes in the morning, I am reborn, and here I am, world. I'm about to take it. I'm going to take anything that resonates with me. I have the knowledge, I have the experience, and you know what? I am capable. Why am I capable? Because I believed, and allowing myself to see that and not fearing closing my eyes is the number one thing. And that's where a lot of people limit themselves. If you're scared to be unalive, you must be traumatized to fall asleep. You understand? You must
Yeah.
be traumatized to fall asleep if you're afraid to unalive. So why give that power? Why give it the power when you have the power? When you know you're capable of closing your eyes, resting your body, and find a space when in the morning you wake up, you have the potential right in front of you, is that anything is possible. And then you realize that anything is possible when you believe in you.
That's so true. That is so true. It really, really is. So I want to remind everybody, because I know we've had people coming and going, that I'm Rowan. I'm live every Thursday. I'm usually going to be about 9-ish usually, but tonight I'm going to stop at 10 and Azrael will be going live, and I'll let him say what time his live is because I can't remember if he's going live right at 10 or 10:30. Um, but please don't forget to subscribe and follow and give hearts to the live. So please follow Candace, Azrael, and myself. And Vicky, I'm so sad that your mic's not working. So hopefully you'll be able to come up next time I'm live, because I do enjoy hearing your information, hearing what you share, because you have beautiful things to share. So Azrael, what time is your live tonight?
11:30 Eastern, so it's 10:30 Central Standard Time. That'll be 8:30 Pacific. Basically, I might have to drop it in half an hour prior before you end too, so that way I can set up some backgrounds and some pictures. Because in actuality, I have the topic and the idea where I want to go with, but I usually like using the background pictures because it gives me inspiration, and it also gives others the inspiration. Just like the tarot cards. If you look at the images, there's so many things that you could pick from, and I use it as cheat codes to remind myself where I'm at with the conversation, and also encourage others around there, because everybody's a medium, but you have to allow yourself to actually believe.
Yes, yes, that is very, very true. So, Candace, welcome, welcome. Tonight we're talking about spiritual transformation. So, feel free to open up. The floor is yours.
Oh, I got some new headphones. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Now we just need
Okay.
to get Vicky some.
I can send her some if she needs them. Uh, anyway, spiritual transformation. Oh, where do I start? For being in the church for 35 years and thinking it's the right path, and I'm saying that with, all honesty, that was not a place for me. Yeah, it was not a place for me, and I felt, you know, comfortable in telling the young man, hey, I'm glad to see you. It's okay. I'm okay with you guys coming to say hi. And then I explained to him that, I wish not to have you knock on my door. And I told them why, and they accepted it, and didn't give me that eye of, oh, disgust look, and I left it at that. But, my intuition has been so high lately, and I just been feeling not so, like not so clouded, not so undecisive on what I need to do next. And and by living in the moment and just doing things that are natural for me, and not overdoing something that is not of my control. which means starting, and the word no is a sentence. So when I start saying no to people, I cannot do that because that is something that I do not allow. Um, and and I put it in the big word perspective, that for people to know that I don't believe that I need to be that way to have you understand what I'm saying. I am my own person. I live I live because I have the grace and the faith to know that the divine is in control of everything that I do, and I have no quarrels with that. I know that when I go to bed at night, that I am rested, that I'm watched over, that I don't have things to worry about except if I run out of Oreos. Gotta have my Oreos. And to know that it's a better understanding of really where I'm at now. Um, Receiving, like the dreams I had last night, and it was like I woke up going, "What kind of dream was that?" I was being chased, and I wasn't afraid, I wasn't fearful or anything like that, but I was being chased for some reason, and it was so like to the end, and then rewind the clock kind of thing and chased again for some reason, and I'm like, what kind of dream is that? And it's just so we because I've never been able to remember my dreams until 4 years ago. And so every time I remember a dream, I write it down, right, in my journal. So when the kids read it later, they're gonna go, "My mom was nuts." No, I'm not nuts. I'm just writing down what I see. And it's so real, Rowan. It's so real, like I'm right there. And it wasn't like, wait, yeah, it was. So it was not for me to be fearful, but to show me exactly where I needed to be at that point. It's not like that person was chasing me, and it's not a person, excuse me, not a person, but they weren't chasing me. They were showing where I needed to go. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It
And
does.
and so it's a wonder for me at this point in my life, and I'm 61, is like, why show me now? Why couldn't you show me like 20 years ago where, I did, how we feel like 20 years ago we should have been doing this and we should have, would have, could have kind of thing. And I'm like, no, that's not where I need to be at the moment. You're here for a certain reason. And just today, my significant others, he thinks he is, but he's not, uh says, well, you're like a mama to everybody. And he got so scared today, I kid you not, because we were at the pet store, and because I know everybody and I feel this, he goes, well, you know everybody in Roseburg, don't you? And I said, pretty much everybody. It's not personally know them, Rowan, it's like I know you.
Yeah.
It's I see them. I know them, but I don't know their name. I just know them. It's like looking at their body aura.
Their aura. Yeah.
Yeah. And he just laughed at me. He goes, "Wow, that's cool." And I go, "Yeah. I've known people for like it's it's a new thing for me. I love it. I love being able to know what's happening and not be so confused and dyslexic. Things are backwards. So when it shows things backwards, I have to rewind it and show it again. But that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm telling you, things have been so cool the last few days. I'm like overshadowed with like, when's the next bus to the next teaching lesson, kind of thing.
And they're out there. I saw Brenda say like there's an energy. Yeah, there is. There has been an energy since the planets started aligning at the tail end of January, and it has been different. It's affected some people in a negative way, and some people have grown a lot. energetically and spiritually from it. So the planets have aligned. We just entered Venus in retrograde, and it's a different one because of the planetary alignments. And we are heading into the solar eclipses. So there is an energy out there. And I know, like with my day job, um, I'm finding a very weird energy with a lot of people. Like it's extremely weird. And I'm just like, hey, come on, take a chill. I've even added extra crystals on my work desk because I'm like, all right, like I gotta boost my protection going on here.
Did, 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 even though I'm told not to light the sage or, or stuff like that, I do it anyway.
Yep, I'm there. Like my husband's like, you got candles going, you got extra crystals out. I'm like, yeah, there is a huge change going on. And with this weird energy for anybody, because I do work with crystals, right now is a really good time to work with shungite, especially if you are working around electronics. Like if your job deals with electronics, or like right now we're live on TikTok, right? So like shungite is really great. Your black tourmaline works really well, and black obsidian jet. They're really, really great crystals to kind of help with that energy because they block it. You can work with hematite. Keep in mind, you want to cleanse that hematite, because what happens is when hematite collects that negativity and collects that weird energy that's going around. And then as soon as it gets it all in there, it's going to explode. Literally, your hematite will just go. So you want to make sure you're cleansing that hematite. And hematite does it likes mugwort, it likes sage, it likes Palo Santo, it likes dragon's blood. So you can just burn some incense and smoke it around there. So just kind of keep that in mind, because there is an energy. And like if you're just starting your spiritual journey, if you're in it, the transformation you're making to be this better person and to evolve into an enlightened person and bring your divine light out, we don't want it to get mushy or yucky with that energy that's out there. So, and those are some of the tools I like to use. Weather's getting better. My favorite thing is to walk around in the mud barefoot. So, if that works for you, or if you like to hug trees or meditate. So like, there's a lot of beautiful tools, that help. And actually, while I say that, there's our next question. There's like a perfect segue. So, Azriel, as you're on your transformative journey spiritually, what are some of the beautiful tools that have helped you grow in that shifting process, in that transformation process?
Believe it or not, I finding branches, trees, especially different trees. There's always branches around these trees, and associate specific intentions with them. It's similar to a magic wand, but they're not prepared. They're just little trees, because I definitely believe that we can give intentions and divination to specific tools out there, and some of them, like sometimes there's a place that I go to, and it's a willow tree, a weeping willow tree, and I know every once in a while I do find branches from it, so I'll take a willow like that, and how I transform the energy, especially energy. Like sometimes I'm commuting all the time, so I do get people that are knuckleheads that cut me off, or do inconsiderate stuff. Instead of me cursing it out and putting my information, anything out there from my voice or my mind or my thought, I will grab it. I'll grab it and just transmute it. I send it that way. Whatever my intention was, whatever I felt, I grab it, the willow branch, and just I send it out the window. So I don't toss the branch. It's like a wand. I take that energy and utilize that tool to throw it out the window. In other words, I push it out that way. So that's how I do it. And then, depending if I find another, like an oak tree, same scenario. I attach an intention, what it's used for. If I want somebody to throw the thumbs up and do, confirmation that, oh, wow, the energy is constantly, I learn to move energy from the body where it doesn't affect me, because if I keep it within myself, it could build up and we could get angry and upset. That old saying, don't bring work home, and don't bring home problems to work. So same scenario. So if I'm working, that's how I transmute and transform and anything throughout the day. If it's something that is beautiful, then of course I'm gonna embrace it. But that's how I do it. And that's just an example of energy transformation. In other words, moving it from one point to another, because it energy, like we always talk about it. It's not gonna be destroyed. It has to be transformed one way or another. So, with that said, I can always move it off, take it away. And you know what? You brought hematite, and I always get myself 4 or 5 hematite rings. And, and as soon as I look at my fingers, I get down to one side. One hand got one, and the other hand got one, and then I have to get some more hematite rings. So I have a good 40, maybe 40 hematite rings that are either broken in half or shattered completely, because energy's all over the place, and they do work. And that's a good suggestion, like you stated. Keep the hematite close to you. And I hope that
Yeah.
answers the question there.
It does. It does. Yes. So just make sure you cleanse them. My son was really, I took him to a crystal store with me one time, and he did have a lot of negative energy. And my rule was when he would come home cranky, is that I had to either cleanse him with an herb bundle, or I had to give him Reiki. And we were at a crystal store, and he got a hematite ring, and his broke within 2 hours. And I was like, and this is why mommy makes you get Reiki. So, because his bro, and he's like, well, it was cheap. I said, no, it gets that energy, and it gets all that negative energy. It collects it out of your body, and you just had way too much. So yeah, just, and, Azriel, like with what you do in your daytime job and what you're dealing with, yours are going to do that too. So just, we got full moon coming, take them off, let them get some nice full moon energy. I know you love the sun. Let them charge in the sun for like 30 minutes, that's a good way to cleanse them, or, run them through incense smoke. But yeah, the more you cleanse your hematite, the longer it will last. Cause once you cleanse it, all the guck it's gathered is just going to like go off where it doesn't belong, or go back where it came from, and then you can use it a little longer. So that's always a great little secret. So anything else you want to add, Azriel?
I'm enjoying this discussion, and I do want to encourage those that are down there in the comments. This is the open discussion. If you want to request and want to share something, please feel free.
Yep. Thank you, Azriel. So, all right, Candace, same question for you. So, what are some of the tools that you have in your medicine kit that you use to help you transform on your journey?
So I do have crystals also, and I put cinnamon and Himalayan salt. I kind of spray it around my door, for the front of the door and the back of the door in the house, and I spray the windows. I also leave the window open just a little bit because my crystals are in the window along with 2 plants. Um, and I I use sage a lot. I have incense that are chakra based, that allow me to use during meditation and stuff like that, and it helps a lot to ground and to, how do you say it, just pay attention. I mean, it just closes the door on the noise outside, and even Tika falls asleep, so which gives me an opportunity to, to do that. I have given Mike uh, a him ring that you said, that word I can't pronounce it. Uh,
Hematite.
yeah, I gave him a ring, and he just messaged me and he goes, "Oh, that's what it's called." And I said, "I just told you yesterday it was called that." So I told him I had forgotten to tell him to put it in the window to cleanse it tonight before he puts it on his finger. So, yes, there's a lot of things I do. We also have a holistic store here in Roseburg, so I also go there for Reiki, and it I spend a lot of money there, but I don't care. But I have a lot of knowledge. I get a lot of knowledge from them. So we we spend a good portion of our time there during the day before I come home and take care of a few clients. But other than that, that's pretty much what I do.
So beautiful. It's so important for us to have ways as we are transforming and we're evolving into more divine spirits and more divine light. Um, it is important for us to know like what helps us and to share what helps us with other people. It
Exactly.
may not help someone else, but it might help someone else. And so like, it's always so nice. And sometimes like I'll hear people will say, oh, I do this. And I might go, ooh, I like part of that. I'm going to tweak it, you know? And so you can make it your own. That's the beautiful thing is that we can make it our own. So, it is always so beautiful to be able to like these panels are so great for that, because we can learn so much from each other and that just helps us all grow and blossom into better people. All right, let's go to our next question. What is a meaningful moment for you on your spiritual journey? Something that was just really special. So Azriel, are you ready? I know I didn't give you very long.
No, and even though it's not personal, I actually experienced it more than one time. It's actually seeing individuals grow. You know, in a community like this, when you come across many different individuals, you can actually observe, their evolve, you know, their evolvement, evolve process from questioning to actually becoming a sage, a mentor as well. There's so many out there, great examples out there that, I so become at awe, you know, and the more, I think of awe and, like, because we can use awe in pain, like we would hit our toe on the table, but we can also use the awe with, when, oh, I got an idea, and that all is the first thing when you hear the word awareness is the awareness. So, being in these communities, sharing it with everybody, sharing my insight and listening to their insights and their perspectives allows me also to become a student and learn from those that learn from me, so that's those moments of evolvement and observing everybody and seeing that they receive the gift and in return they are actually doing the same in return because I learn a lot. It's a give and take. Nothing in life is straightforward. In other words, there's a specific reason why there's a circle in our society, in our world, the sun, the moon, everything that we see, anything that makes any sense, the wheels in the bus go round. So everything is all about a full 360 degrees circle and observing individuals as they present themselves in the present and then observing them on a later date, you can see how great and their aura is becoming more and more evident. It's like, if you haven't met somebody for a while and then you see them and you say, I don't know what you have done, but there's something different about you. You are shining. There's this different perspective of who you are. I witness it. I see it on a day-to-day basis with the individuals here in this community. And that's the greatest gift that I received. Was that the question, the
Yes,
gift?
yes. It's like what was a
Yes,
meaningful moment?
yes, that's the greatest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is very meaningful because it is beautiful to watch people grow. It really, really is. I love that. That's so beautiful. And Brenda, thank you. We're so glad you enjoy being here. For those that just joined, for those that just started, tonight's topic is transformation. So spiritual transformation. Please don't forget to hit that heart button. I'm here every Tuesday doing tarot readings and here every Thursday with a spiritual topic. And you're welcome to request to come up on panel if you would like to. We're going till 10 o'clock and then at 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're going for another hour, and in an hour and a half, Azriel will be going live. So hopefully we'll all migrate over to Azriel's live from here. So Candace, is there a meaningful moment or moments that you've had on your spiritual transformation? Yeah.
Um, this is crazy. Hold on a minute.
Okay. So yes, please don't forget to give us some likes there and give us some love. So, oh, Candace is back, I think.
Yeah, I turned off my Bluetooth. I didn't like it. So spiritual gift. Well, when I first joined the community that we have now, well, I wouldn't say joined. When I first popped in, a while back, I don't know, Azra, has it been like a couple years now? I don't know, close to a couple years, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
close to a couple of years, yes.
they scared the crap out of me. Him and Alien T, they scared the crap out of me. And I'm like, what are they talking about? They're using 12-foot words, and I was so confused, so young on my spiritual path. And I'm saying that because I'm going to use that really. I'm putting that in big quotations because at the time I really didn't know what that word meant. So here it is. One of the words Azra told me in the beginning was, Candace, these are the things that you must do right now is observe, listen. Don't say a word, but, just listen, observe. And so I did that for a while, and they didn't scare me. But the gift I received was to know at some point that everything was going to make sense in due time. I didn't need to rush anything. I wasn't expected to be the number one tarot reader in the world, or a psychic reader that can, see spirits and et cetera, et cetera. That's not Candace. And and that's the gift I received, was just knowing that it's okay to be who I am. I don't have to be anybody else but me. And Azrael and Alien T, and there was you, especially you, and there was, wow, Jody. Jody was in the beginning, was very, very helpful in the beginning of my journey. And so that's the gift I received from all four of you. It's not to scare me away, but just go, you're doing fine. Right?
And see, and that's what I mentioned earlier, is seeing individuals grow. Because, one thing and I think you might have heard me earlier, is
Okay.
that, sometimes we feel alone, and basically it's the presence of somebody else that can acknowledge us, and just being acknowledged, whether we know something or not know something, it's just know that we are here in the present with you. In my presence, in the present, you are here with me. And that's the thing, these words that we discuss, these words that we talk are so magical once you can realize that your presence is a present to me in the present. Understand?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and that encourages you to actually give yourself that acknowledgement. Every day you can acknowledge yourself. You know what? I am the best. I am capable. And these things that we're discussing is the transformation in spirituality. And once you learn how to transform that in your spirituality, you can actually utilize it and integrate it with your physical self, and your physical self is part of your spiritual self. It's all in the same one connected, one connection together.
Do you know what is so funny as you said that? I, in where I'm at now, people think that I get offended by what they say, and I don't. In the beginning, I asked people what is ego, right? And in the beginning, I'm like addressing how they're talking to myself, and I'm going, that sounds like ego. No, it's not. That sounds like, no, it's not. So I'm learning as I go just how I can just be me and not have to be some big spiritual professor, pretty much. You know, I don't have to know it all.
We don't.
And you don't, and that's the thing about it. And many people are intimidated. Many people have a voice, and they're scared to come on panels like this and discuss because they're afraid that they don't know enough. But you know what? It's your authentic self. That's all we want is you to be your authentic self.
Yep.
Whether you know or you don't know, it doesn't matter. Just being here in the present with us allows us to actually enhance who we are as well. I've learned a lot of stuff. I see so many different perspectives of everything. Just yesterday, I was in Aura's life, and those that are here, you guys know Aura. And Aura was talking about spiritual animals. All right. And, I talked about spiritual animals in the past and so forth and so forth. Aura was reading a poem about spiritual animals, and one of them he picked up was the ego. He was talking about the ego and what the ego represented, and not the ego of the individual, but the ego, the bird, the ego. And the ego represents the spirit because it could see everything from all over the places. So when we talk about the ego, ourselves being who we are as the individual, we should never eliminate the ego. It's not about the ego that says, oh, I'm the best. It's about the ego that is the spirit that is hovering over you. And it's going to say, Candace, you know better than that. Don't do that. And that's the true ego, is your higher version of yourself. That's the
Oh, yeah.
spiritual. Yes.
I hear it all the time, and it's not, it's not to make me mad or anything, but it's that little like, okay, what are you doing? Rethink it. You need to put that in a different form. They got a little upset with you, so let's rethink that what you just said, and apologize. Oh yeah, Azrael, I'm not kidding. My kids are like, is that my mom? So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's so important for us to be our authentic selves, and it's something that society doesn't teach. Like, it's almost like the movie Stepford Wives, where they're trying to make all the housewives the same, like these moms from, like, what was that, the 50s or the late 40s, where they're trying to make everybody, all the wives, the same. And society actually teaches us that we should all be the same and conform. And look at what we can lose if we do that. Like, there's no creativity, there's no art, there's no music, there's no dancing. Everybody has special gifts that not we each have our own individual special gifts. And you know are you happy if you're conforming to what somebody wants you to be, to their expectations? You're not. That's part of your spiritual journey and part of your spiritual transformation, is to find out who you are and pull yourself out of the shadows. Sorry, I'm getting a little dry. Anything else you want to add for Azriel?
No, I'm trying to prepare something to to put in my tummy. But no, but that's the key. The key is, we can intimidate ourselves by fearing things that we can't control, especially the future and the outcome of things. As long as you're in the present moment, it's that ability to actually allow yourself to give yourself that opportunity, because the opportunity knocks, and it always knocks. And there's so many regrets all of us can carry, that we can actually become more saddened. We can be delving into anxiety and self-depression because we're acknowledging, wow, I just gave up that opportunity, and I knew it. I always knew it. But self-awareness and being in the present moment is the key. We never need to act on an action. When somebody says something and expects you to answer back, you can always say, give me a minute, give me a few minutes, or I can get back to you. We never have to respond. Only if you allow yourself to respond right there, it's up to you. If you feel comfortable to respond at the moment, but if you make a fault or wrong decision, you have the opportunity. You always have the opportunity to say no. So we can act on action. We can be negative with the action, or just remain neutral and don't act on it and just allow it to be. And once you allow it to be, you give yourself infinite possibilities of what you can do down the road about that situation or the other question somebody asks you.
It's very, very true. Candace, anything else you want to add on this particular topic?
Well, my first mentor, when I first met her, it was in 2017. And Tawny used to tell me all the time, she used to go, look, Candace, I'm just going to put it plain and simple right here. If you cannot be authentic in all you say and all you do, don't talk to me. It's just plain as day. Because why not be authentic? I mean, then people look at you, it's like being a school teacher. I mean, you're going to be teaching students how to add 1 + 1 = 2. So you're not going to lie to them and say 1 + 2 = 4. I mean, come on now. I mean, just, it's being authentic. And when people realize that you're being authentic in all you say and all you do, you attract people, and my gosh, people tell me their life story and I go, I can't answer that, but I can guide you in something that I've worked with, even with my sponsees in the AA program. I can't tell you what you can and cannot do. That's not me. I'm not supposed to do that. You're your own person, right? And and I'm so grateful for Azrael. I mean, he's been such a big help this last year. I'm telling you, T and you guys have been awesome. I'm telling you. And I'm just saying that because I'm out of Oreos. Just kidding.
And guilty pleasures are self-love. So, all right, I saw Brenda had a question in here and I saw Azrael kind of answered it. So here's something to throw out there. So your non-dominant hand, if you look at it, it will have lines, and that is your life set in stone. Your dominant hand is as your life changes. So yes, you can change. So had I stayed on my path, so I was born into a Christian cult. My parents wanted me to be in this Christian cult, and it was like really, really important. Their expectation was that all of their children would be in this and follow that cult's rules 100%, that we would have good little cult babies and they would have good little cult babies, and we would carry this on for generation and generation and generation. Now, had I met my parents' expectations, I would not be here right now. You would not have me on a panel because I would be stuck in that cult, right? So, yes, we can change our path. We can change our destiny. And I have a feeling that me spiritually questioning a lot of the stuff that I was taught as a young child and leaving that cult, actually has changed other people, because my father actually was like, my husband had brought up that I had turned away their missionaries at the door, and he's like, why did you do that? You should be feeding them and da 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 blah 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 blah, right? And I was like, I did not find happiness and gratification in my life in that cult. I could not be my authentic self. I couldn't be the weird person that ran around barefoot, hugging trees, playing in the mud. Like, this is why we can change our destiny. So, yes. And then if you believe in reincarnation, we come back until we do change our destiny. So if you don't believe in reincarnation, that's completely fine. But yes, we can change our destiny. I truly believe that. Azrael, do you want to add anything? Because I saw you had made like a nice little comment. I think he's putting food in his mouth. So, Candace, do you want to add anything to that change?
I totally agree with you. Well, I agree with you about the other part, because my sister was so happy. I'm just saying this out there. I'm shooting this out there because she was so happy I left. Anyway, on top of that, I do believe in reincarnation. I do believe in that. I do believe that we have a past life. I do believe that we have many, and I do understand that living with regret here. I was told by my mother-in-law, bless her heart, that if you leave this world with regret, you have to come back and do it again. You have to come back and change what you did here. And so I tell my children that every day, and it says, I don't want to live with regrets now. So if I upset you in something or say something that upsets you and hurts your feelings, I'd like to know, because I don't want to live with that regret and leave this world knowing I have to come back and change stuff again. I don't want to come back. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's part of our growing and evolving spiritually. That's part of our transformation. If we don't change the path we're on now, we like, because I believe in reincarnation, we will have to come back. Um,
Right.
or we're going to have that regret, and are we going to have it in the afterlife? I mean, I don't want to find out. you know.
You, I should. Well, I get. Well. In the afterlife or across the veil or however people interpret it, um, the life review is not something that is going to, because they don't do that. They don't like scold you for something that you did here while you were a human, while you were in your physical body. So they don't scold you. They just let you be aware of what happened. And this is just my perspective of it, of what happened in your life here, and who was hurt by your decisions or who wasn't, or the difference between how you were here and did you do all you could to fix it. That's the best way I can say it. And I've been told that, I'm just saying it, I've been told that, not only are your loved ones, between, and this is just my perspective, what I've been told, that they're between the ages of 23 or 20, between 20 and 23, 24, their best life that they were here on Earth, I guess is the age I was told. So that's what I've been told, not by humans. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. And it was so cool because they kept going. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I never told anybody, so don't tell my secret. I'm not kidding. It was fantastic. And it wasn't while I was awake either. Um it was so fantastic because that's what I got to be shown. And I'm like, I'm still like weird, and they're like, don't be, it's not weird, it's what you need to know. And that's how it went. Like, it seemed like it was like forever and it was only like 10 minutes. Weird.
We get a lot of messages when we're asleep, because that's when we can tap into our subconscious normally.
I
So,
didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah. So I saw, like, actually a really great question. Elena asked, when we come back, will we be with our same family? All right. So Elena, there's a lot of different theories and thought processes on this. And I'll tell you what, when I work with my spirit guides and when I talk to spirits, they laugh, because they're not going to give us all of the answers. We don't know. However, I believe somehow we are connected with some people from past lives. There are certain people in my life that I feel like I have known for centuries and centuries and centuries. So I can say that with my husband. We feel like we've known each other forever. And it was something that we said when we first became friends. We felt so comfortable with each other. We were like, God, it's like we've known each other forever, but we haven't.
Aww, I love it.
And I will tell you, I had a very, very, very strong bond with my grandmother. It was, I'm like, most people are like, man, you are so close with your grandmother. And I have that bond with my granddaughter. And I feel like I have known my granddaughter for centuries and centuries. So I do think that, and I know with my granddaughter, I did do a really neat meditation, and I am more than positive her and I were together at some point in a past life. So you can do past life regressions, and you can find out about different past lives. And sometimes you have been with members of your family and you will be with them again. So we just won't know until it happens. But if you have that soul connection with somebody where you're just like, I knew you were going to say this was deja vu, where you like just feel like you know them so well. and you have that strong connection, you know that you have been through lives together. So what a beautiful thing to be like, all right, we're going through turmoil in this life. Maybe we went through something similar in a past. We didn't learn from that lesson. And so now we have to learn from it this time. So, you know, how wonderful though to be connected with somebody through so many centuries and through so many lives. So it is a beautiful thing. So we won't know the full answer until we are whatever we want to call what happens when we're unalive, whether we go to Valhalla or whether we go to the underworld, whether we ride a beautiful boat on the Styx River and hang out with Hades and Hecate, like whatever the afterlife is, we won't know the full answers until then. But yes, there's some very interesting theories out there. And if you are more interested, Brian Weiss has several books out about past lives. So I would highly recommend him if you want to go someplace. And he has trained a lot of people to help with past life regression. There's a lot of those classes out there. I do not teach past life classes because I'm still working on accessing all of my past lives. And it, like, that's part of, like, this all like meshes together with synchronicities, because that is how we go on our spiritual journey. It's that awakening moment where we're like, why do I feel like I'm reliving this again? I need to transform. And until we transform, that's kind of what reincarnation is we have to come back. At least that is what my belief is. So I don't know, Azrael, do you want to add anything? I don't know if you believe in reincarnation. I don't know if we've talked about it. We may have.
I have a question for you, Rolando.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, past life regression, and where did it go? I forgot it already. Well, what if my husband who passed, what if he said he was he was a star people or
A star
whatever?
seed.
Yeah, what if he said he was a star seed? I'm like, wow.
Oh, you know, boy, that's like a whole topic of it.
You can message me
Yes.
later. I just had to
Yes.
ask that because because when the children were born, their eyes were not only pitch black, but they remained pitch black for a long time. So just saying,
Yes.
we should
So
talk about it later. But yeah,
yeah, there are different
oh my
star seeds
gosh.
out there, so they are the star seeds. Yeah, that would probably be a really great topic for us to have too. So
Speaking of a supposedly starseed, have at it.
yeah. So Azrael, I saw you kind of getting ready to pop on. I don't know if you want to add anything to the past lives.
Um, I've done past life regressions. Now, as far as reincarnation, I definitely believe that we see, it's only my perspective is that we never unalive. We continue on a different parallel. It's just only what we understand in this parallel is what resonates with us. In this age, in this here, we're only shown to believe that we can the maximum of 120 years. If we are able to, if we're blessed and eat healthy and are healthy and so forth, we could live to 120. But once we cross over, and one of the best example will be when we go to sleep. When we go to sleep, we don't know what happens after we fall asleep. So when we wake up, we might wake up in a different dimension. And I'm talking about that wake up is after we cross over. When we open our eyes, it might be another dimension, another example of here, where our understanding is that now we can live to 240 years. So I definitely believe we continue infinite and beyond that. And I think, the only thing that is proven is that past life regression where we can actually transcend versus ascend because, the ascend is the future. And that's the anxiety that actually keeps us locked from the potential that we can go on and on. So, those are answers that we could talk about and actually come to a million and one conclusions, but never be discouraged because, the gift that we've been given is the ability to close our eyes even before we fall asleep and meditate. Uh, Close our eyes and look for a light source and see the light source through our eyes. So think of it as a deep sea diver or somebody deep sea, diving into the ocean, and you go all the way down to the bottom of the ocean as far as you can, and you look up and you see the light, you see the sun up there, but you're way up, way down there in darkness. The same experience that you experience in an NDE is the same experience you can experience just closing your eyes. The light is just a reminder where you need to go, you know? So we are energy. Oh, darn it. Oh, darn it. Oh, darn it. Hold on a second. My headphone fell into my soup.
Oh
Hold on. Yeah. So, but, one of them, my left one did fell into the soup. But, so I definitely believe that we can go to past life regression and actually take a look and see that. So that's, that's why the word transcendent is very popular, and many people talk about it, and many people have argument when it comes to ascension, because uh, the true purpose of ascension is, as I send I shall receive. If you understand that, as I send I shall receive. So if I love myself, and I show unconditional love for myself, it's the power of attraction we will receive. So basically, ascension in actuality is what resonates with you, will actually find you once you can actually understand who you are as the individual. And as far as the other parts, we continue. It's infinite, so it's infinity, so that's part of where I am. Oh, we lost Candace.
we did. She said she needed to go eat. So it's everybody's dinner time. Well, I ate before I came on, so my class got over like quick enough that I could shove some food down my throat. So I teach classes quite frequently. So a lot of times when I go live, it's like right after I've taught a class. But I also believe like our soul, even if our physical body unalives, our soul is going to go where it's supposed to go. And it holds all of our memories, past, present, and future, regardless of what life it is. But yes, I do believe that like while we're here on this realm, we're only supposed to know what we know. And yes, we're going to grow and learn. We're going to learn more. That's part of our spiritual path, and part of our transformation is to learn and grow more as we go on this spiritual path. So I want to remind everybody, as we talk about this transformation, we will be going, I will be ending the live in about 20 minutes. And Azrael will be going live in about, I think, 40 minutes. We'll see how good my math is. So it would be 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that would be 11:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll just...
The phone was ringing, so I never left. But
Okay.
I'll contact the individual. Yeah. So yeah, you're correct. 11:30. So I'm working on eating. I'm working on that. But I love your life, and I wish others will actually come up here and share, so that way I can actually take a little burden of myself and actually finish up my dinner, and then be able to do the live. But you know what? I love being here with you, because this is something that the community needs. It's continuous, it's continuous flow and energy, and there's so much that we can learn just being here in the present moment, and that's the most beautiful thing. Hey, Hooded Spirit, nice to see you. Elena Morrison, nice to see you. uh Vishu Buddha, how do you say Vishuda?
I know
Nice to
it
see you
sounds
as
really
well.
pretty.
Yes. Well, so um you know, I guess we can invite somebody. Vicky, did you get your headphones fixed or no?
I think she said she was still having issues, and it's okay if, like, I mean, I know Azrael, you may need to go, and if I need to, if you guys want to hear me speak a little bit more, I surely can, because I do teach classes, so I am used to talking a lot, so it's all good. But I will remind everybody, well, Azrael and I usually do, like, well, last night I didn't join Alien T's. I joined it to listen, but I didn't join panel. We do typically join Alien T, who's on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard, 10 p.m. Eastern, right, Azrael? Am I remembering the time right?
Correct. Yeah, that is correct.
All right, because sometimes, like, I just look and I'm like, oh, he's live. I better jump on. I go live on Tuesdays doing one card readings and talking about divination. And then I am here on Thursdays. And yes, I'm a fairly new channel. So I have known Azrael for 4 years. Actually, I think maybe a little, is it more than four? It might be four plus.
I think it's definitely a little bit more than 4 because time does fly, and I been here over a year and some now, and I met you at the other place, and it's been a while. So yeah, a good 5 years. I still had my dog, and my dog is no longer with us, so
Yeah,
it's a while ago.
yeah, it has been a while. So yeah, I've known Azrael for quite a while actually in real life, and he kept saying he would message and say, "Come on TikTok," and I'm like, "Okay," and I just didn't come. So we finally sat and chatted, and he's like, "You have to go on TikTok." So I'm really glad to be a part of this spiritual community, because I do have a lot that I feel like I can share because I've learned so much, and I get a little passionate about it. I'm also a fire sign, so I shouldn't say a little passionate. That fire in me gets me really passionate. So, but please don't forget to follow myself or Azriel if you haven't, and please like the live. That way, like I'll get up in the algorithms, and we'll get bigger and bigger to where I'll go longer than 2 hours. Because I don't mind if I go longer than 2 hours, because that would always be fun too. And if you are like, hey, maybe she'll have a cool topic next week and you want to join panel, please feel free to think about like getting your feet wet. It won't hurt. You can just act like we're on the phone. You don't have to have your camera on. So that's always kind of nice. I don't mind. I figure it's kind of fun to have the camera on for a little bit. So
Rowan, I turn on my camera usually for you. So this is probably the only live that I always turn my camera on, except for tonight. Tonight I'm stuffing my face, so it's a different scenario. But this is probably the only platform that I kept it on from the beginning to the ending. You know, no, no, I didn't see Elena Morrison. I'll take a look when I get a chance. Did you see what?
what I
Yeah,
saw.
I'll take a look at it. But Rowan, I encourage you stick around and actually, maybe discuss your what you do, as far as your classes, and also on Tuesdays what you do here in the community, as well. And I will be back, but I need to actually freshen up, change clothes from I just got home a little while ago, finish up my dinner. Um, it's funny that happened right now. Is that, hey Brenda, my other headphones, I dropped my other set of headphones in my toilet, and now I dropped this one in my soup.
Soup.
You
That
know.
is not having any luck.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way, and I'm not intimidated. I'm not going to get mad about it. The only thing that I was upset is that, it just made no sense why it falls into my soup. But I don't want to hold it. Brenda's up here. Great to see you, Brenda. I love you as well. I love you, Rowan, and everybody in the community. I shall be back in about an hour. About an hour,
Yeah.
and and I hope to see you guys.
Yes. So
I'm going
everybody.
to drop down, Rowan. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
So
I'll
everybody
be
who doesn't,
listening. Trust me, I'm listening.
I know you will. So Azriel will be going live later tonight. So even though he's dropping down, he's not going to be forgotten, because he'll be back up later tonight. So you will so please, if you haven't liked him yet or followed him yet, please make sure to like and follow. So Brenda, tonight's topic is on spiritual transformation. And I know you've been here for a lot of the conversation. And welcome. What would you like to add?
I want to ask you a question that I'm
Okay.
confused in. Now, I heard a while, because we used to be in what they call, some people, I call it I don't know if it's supposed to be the third realm, or some people call it destiny, or I don't know how they say it. But I heard when that change came in, and everybody said, there was a change coming, and it's already took place. I thought we're in the fifth dimension. This to me feels like it's the fifth dimension. But some people say no, it's the seventh.
I've heard different things on the dimensions. What I will say, okay, the Great Conjunction took place actually in December of 2020.
Hmm.
It was when every single solitary planet was aligned, and it was right before 2021. And how odd that it was taking place during a pandemic when a lot of places were still completely on shutdown, where there were like a lot of businesses still not open, masks and all of that. So the Great Conjunction was thought to be when the age of Aquarius started. There were also some things that maybe it started a couple years before. But quite frankly, I do think that the Great Conjunction did happen, and the age of Aquarius was the Great Conjunction. So it's about every 2,500 years we go to a new age. So the age after the age of Aquarius will be the age of Pisces. We will, if we are on this earth, we will be in a different body, because I don't know that I'll live to be over 2,500 years. So the age, and Vicky's been singing the song. Yeah, I know. Every time I talk about it, I think of the song too. The age of Aquarius is the age of technology and spiritual ascension. And if you've noticed, so I was actually born last century. There has been a huge shift of people wanting to become more spiritual. We see a lot more metaphysical and new age spirituality coming out. We see more people, we're gravitating. Just like we have had, I'm just going to bring it up, corporal punishment. Parents did corporal punishment for generation after generation after generation. During the age of Aquarius, this is something that everybody's like, that's not healthy for us. Like, it's not healthy for our body, mind, and soul. Like, we need to change this. So there's little things like that. One thing I've noticed is that people are doing less people pleasing, and we are trying to become our authentic selves. You're starting to hear that more. I've even heard a couple Christian churches, usually the friend, like I'm going to say like Lutherans, because the Lutherans are kind of, they're pretty open, like I love my Lutheran friends because they're very, very open, but they're even like, be your authentic self, like we don't have to follow all these strict rules. So we're seeing that huge shift as we're also seeing technology grow. Like, our ancestors 100 years ago, if you told them we would have telephones that you could see your relatives that lived in another country, they would laugh. They'd be like, yeah, whatever, because telephones were like a fairly new invention and not everybody had one. So they would have been like, no. Same thing even with cars. Cars, like you had to be super loaded to have a car. Most people had a horse or feet, or they walked everywhere. So like if you were to just even go back 100 years ago, people would say, oh yeah, whatever, right, that's going to be around in 100 years. But it's because we are in the age of Aquarius. So there you go.
Okay, so I believe what you're saying there, but does the age of Aquarius, does it have to do anything with a realm? Yes or no?
I believe it does. To know the whole, like, I slowly, because I jump into one thing and I start studying the heck out of it. And then I'm like, okay, but I need to like because everything branches out. And I do think the realms, that's like a whole other topic. And I've done a little bit on that. It's just even the same with the star seeds, there's, I think all of it intertwines together somehow. And it's a matter of putting all those puzzle pieces together.
And do you feel that we can be in multiple dimensions at once, at the same time?
Well, with astral projection, yes. So I think we can.
I'll tell you something when I got a weird feeling going on. And I don't know why I feel this. But I feel, and I don't know why I feel like this, that we'll see the day comes when we take our last breath that will be right in another life, like it never even happened.
I think it definitely, that's how it is. So Azrael kind of touched on it a little bit, and I touched on it a little bit. Oh, thank you, hooded spirit. Um, our spirit can go to many different planes. And so when our physical body unalives, we will keep all of our memories and our knowledge from this life and take it with us into the spirit realm. So regardless of what happens in the spirit realm, and if we get reborn again on this plane, on the earth plane, I mean, we won't know, but we will take everything. So yes, our spirits, I truly believe our spirits do live on and retain that knowledge, and part of the knowledge from our past lives and what it was like in the spirit realm before we got our earthly bodies. We won't know, like, for some reason it's been blocked from us. We're supposed to like relearn it. Why? I don't know. Like, that's the great mystery. And I will tell you, I honestly, my spirit guide, she's like, stop asking me. Just because you rephrase it doesn't mean I'm going to tell you. Because I like try to probe. And then like when I, like, a spirit will say, hey, help me with this. And I'll help the spirit. And I'm like, hey, answer a couple questions for me. There's certain ones that are like, we're not supposed to tell you. You have to figure it out on your own. So we won't know all of those answers. We can speculate. We can come up with theories. We can learn how to phrase things so that when we are working with spirits, we can ask them and get a little bit of a peek, you know. But we do have to learn a lot of that. So that's kind of the fun of being here. And that's why I love learning and keep learning and learning and learning and sharing, because we're growing, we're evolving, we're transforming spiritually. So it's our beautiful journey that we have right now.
See, the reason why I don't think we come back with all our knowledge is because we were never supposed to. We're supposed to have that childlike experience where everything's new, everything's fresh.
Yeah, and that could totally, I mean, that's what like the Christian cult I was in, that's what they taught. They didn't teach like reincarnation, but they taught that you were in the spirit realm, and then you get your body, you come to earth, and then you die and you go back to heaven. And I do heaven in quotes because they had like a whole theory on heaven, which was really weird, and I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
But, and I do believe that you know, we do have that, and that is probably it. You know, or we're not supposed to know the lesson that we didn't learn in our last life, and so they're hiding it from us because we have to learn it again on our own. So, and I see Elena Morrison asks to explain and define star seeds. You know what? I can make it actually one of the topics. I had a couple ideas for next week, but maybe I can make that for next week or the week after. Because that will be like a good 2-hour topic. So I'll see which one I'm supposed to do next week, because I have a couple others that I had in mind too. So, but I will put that on my list, because star seeds it's a very, very fascinating topic. But yeah, it's a big one. It's a very big one. So, and I don't want to stay on too long, because I would like Azrael to be able to have some of you beautiful, wonderful people go join his live too, since he'll be going live pretty soon. And I'll just take a quick break if you don't, or not a break, but
I am going to drop down, because guess what? You answered all my questions for me.
Well, fabulous, Brenda.
And I'm giving you a break. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll just tell everybody, thank you so much, Brenda, for joining. So one of the things I do is I do teach classes. And if you are in the Chicagoland area, we are getting into warm weather, and warm weather means outside rituals. So I will have outside rituals on my Eventbrite. You can always go in my bio. There are links there to my Patreon and to my website. So you can always go there to follow me on either place, and definitely follow me here. I do go live on Tuesdays. Tuesdays live is called Tuesday tarot. So I do 1-card readings, and in between readings, when there's not questions, I do talk about different types of divination and divination practices. So, and then Thursdays, I will be going live every Thursday. So tonight we'll be ending in about 6 minutes. So I can have a little break before I jump on Azrael's. But if you are not following, please follow, and please give me a heart, because those hearts will help me get up in the league, and we can get more people in the spiritual community to join us here. So, and I do want to thank everybody who has come tonight, and everyone who came up on panel. I know I had Candace up here, and Azrael and Brenda. Thank you so much. And we tried to get Vicky. Vicky, we're going to get you up next week, because last week was so wonderful when you were up. So I do appreciate everybody who jumps up on panel. Tonight's topic was spiritual transformation. And spiritual transformation is so important for us to grow and evolve. And wherever you are in your spiritual journey, I'm hoping you guys are finding just some of the most amazing things. And it's okay if you're like, I'm not evolving, I'm in a dark place. We have all been in a dark place, and we may have dark places yet to come if you're not in a dark place, because we don't always know what is going to be on the road in front of us. Some questions. I'm just going to throw out some of the questions we talked about and some of the questions that we didn't even get to. So you can actually maybe write them down and contemplate them for yourself. So one was, what significant experience or event led you to your spiritual transformation? It was that eye-opening, awakening moment of what brought you on this beautiful spiritual journey. How has your spirituality evolved over time? What is a meaningful moment for you on your spiritual journey? And it could even be moments, because Azrael shared that his are multiple moments, and it was just extremely beautiful. And then finally, what was a major turning point in your spiritual journey? And that's pretty significant. I'll just kind of share mine. Mine came actually when my granddaughter was born. It was just so priceless to see this precious little spirit and the connection I had to her. Sorry, I'm getting teary-eyed, because I knew that we had been together in a past life. And we had an amazing, beautiful experience together. And even to this day, I will get a phone call at 9 at night or 10 at night their time. They're a couple time zones behind me, and it will be kind of late. And my daughter or son-in-law will be like, we can't get her to go to sleep. She wants to talk to you. And it's just, we're supposed to bond at that moment. And then she'll go straight to sleep. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's a connection. We have this beautiful connection. And so our spiritual journeys sometimes involve loved ones that we have. They may involve a beautiful experience. It could be even something as simple as going for a walk, and maybe you come across a beautiful animal that's free in nature that just has a message for you. Or maybe you're astral projecting and you had a beautiful message. So please enjoy your spiritual journeys, and write them down for your progeny, so that they can see it, and write them down so that maybe like you get the courage to come up on panel and you can share your experience one day. I see a couple beautiful things. Your granddad and Nan had, yes, you know what, Vicky, that's, I had said I had a close relationship. Grandparents are just so wonderful. And some of us have been blessed to have those strong relationships. And I am so glad that you had one, because it's extremely special to have those bonds. And the bond, so if you're like sitting there, you might have a bond with someone else in your life that's special. It could be like your best friend. It could be your significant other. You might have like a very special bond with somebody in your life that has actually helped your spiritual journey. So, if you don't like the channel, if you haven't liked my channel yet, please feel free to follow me. I would love to see you every week. And don't forget, in about 30 minutes, Azrael will be going live. And so try to jump on and listen to him as he carries on, and we'll transition from your spiritual transformation into his topic is living in the present. So it's a very beautiful topic too. So I want to thank everybody so much for coming and listening tonight. I've loved having all of you here. And as always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.